Hey everyone, I'm Jeff with Bazaar Music, and today we're going to talk about how to get started with your brand new digital piano from Bazaar. We're going to cover a couple different things like how to sit at the piano, how to play your first major scale, different chords, and eventually get to our first song. So let's get started. So let's talk about our posture when playing the piano. First of all, we're going to sit down, we're going to have our back nice and straight, not stiff, but just sit up straight. From there, let gravity do the work, have it pull your arms all the way down to the ground, and then bend at the elbow until your arms are parallel, your forearms are parallel with the ground. And there, you're basically ready to go. Now, the things to keep in mind are you don't want to be reaching all the way out, you don't want to be too pulled in here, you just want to comfortably bring your arms up to the playing position. Now, if you're going to be playing some rock and roll, basically all bets are off. Do whatever you want and just try not to set anything on fire and you should be good to go. Now that we've got our posture straightened out, let's talk about music. Now, the first thing to know is the musical alphabet. And the musical alphabet is very similar to the alphabet that you already know, except that it's much shorter. It ends on G. So you're going to go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then you're just going to start over. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Those are the notes that you need to know. Now on the piano, we've got these white keys and we've got these black keys. The white keys represent the notes that we just talked about, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And the black keys are sharps and flats. For our purposes today, we're not going to talk so much about the black keys, and we're just going to focus on the white keys because that keeps us in the key of C. Now, C is going to be the important note because it helps us find where everything is on the piano. And the way that you find the C key is by the help of the black keys. You can see that each black key is in a group of 3 or 2. So in order to find the C, we're going to go right next to any grouping of 2 black keys and go one below. And there's our C. Group of 2, C. Group of 2, C. And all on down the keyboard. And that's kind of how we get our bearings. And everything is going to build from there. Let's learn our first major scale in the key of C. First, we're going to find the note C, take a grouping of 2 black keys and go one below, and there's C. And we're going to start our musical alphabet starting from the note C. So go C, D, E, F, G, and remember the musical alphabet ends at G, so you got to start over here, A, B, C. Now that is the C major scale. Let's go ahead and hear that again. Should sound pretty familiar to you. Now I would just do this a couple times and say the names of the notes as you play through it. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Just that easy. And go down C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Now going backwards can be a bit tricky, so do that a couple times, go up and down, and get familiar. Now we're also going to talk about the proper way to actually play the C major scale using your hands. So we're going to put our thumb on the C key, and then first finger on the D, third finger on the E. Okay? Now, rather than using our fourth finger here, we're going to slip our thumb right under. Okay? Let's do that again. And that allows us to reach the rest of the keys. Okay? So thumb, first finger, second finger, thumb, first finger, second finger. And then to go down, it's the same thing in reverse. We're going to go pinky. And once we get to that thumb, now we're going to cross over with our middle finger. Just like that. Now, that's the tricky part. So play this more than once, go very slow, and just keep focused on where your thumb needs to cross under or where your middle finger needs to cross over. And once you do that, you'll be ready for the next section. Now there's a couple general approaches for playing the piano. One is reading the sheet music in front of you and playing famous classical pieces and so on and so forth. The other is using chords to play popular songs. And today we're going to talk about using chords to play popular songs. It's a little bit easier than the classical music, and if you play songs that you know, I find that students make a lot more progress a lot faster. So let's talk about what a chord is and how to build it. Now earlier we talked about the C major scale. And we're going to take those notes, the ones that you already know, and we're going to build chords. Now a chord is two or more notes played at the same time. And to build a chord within the key of C, all you have to do is play every other note within the scale. Okay, and this is how this works. We're going to take C as our first note. D would be the next note, but we're going to skip that, and we're going to play E. The next note after that would be F, right there, but we're not going to play it. We're going to skip it. We're going to go to G. And as you can see, this is just every other note. And on the white keys, staying in the key of C, which is why we're using the key of C, because it makes it nice and easy, it's just every other key. C, E, and G is going to make your major chord. Now you can take this shape of every other, and you can play all the way up and down the keyboard. Just like that. So let's slow it down and talk about some specific chords that you hear all over in popular music. Now wherever your thumb is going to be essentially the name of the chord within the key of C. So as we remember here, we go the two black keys and down one, so that's C. So we know this is a C chord. The chord we're going to look at next is the A minor chord. So all we have to do is find A and then build our familiar chord shape from that position. So we go C, D, E, F, G, A. So we found A. Now let's put our thumb on it and go every other. And there's our A minor chord. Let's do that one more time. We start with C, and then we walk our way up till we find the A minor. C, D, E, F, G, A. Once we find the A, we make our chord by going every other key. Now, as you do this more often, you're not going to have to walk up and down the scales to find the chord. You'll just be able to go back and forth like that. And that's where we want to end up, and that's where practicing really comes in handy, because it's all about getting familiar, doing the same things over and over again until they become second nature. So we talked about A minor. Let's get another chord called G. Same process. We're going to walk up the scale until we find G and then build our chord from that position. C, D, E, F, G. Oh yeah. Now we're just going to build that up. Perfect. Now let's play C, A minor, G. C, A minor, G. Now let's take a look at our last chord, which is going to be F. And we're going to follow the same process for F as we did for all the other chords. We're just going to walk up from C, C, D, E, F. There we go. And we're going to build it up from there. And there's our F chord. Now what I would recommend doing is writing these chords down. C, A minor, G, F. And then putting them in all sorts of different orders. C to A minor, C to G, C to F, F to G, A minor to C. Any combination you can think of, just write it down and sit down and practice going back and forth between those two chords. Because finding where they are located, I found starting out that's the hardest thing. It's just finding where these chords go. So you want to get comfortable where each one goes. So we're going to go C, A minor, G, F. And then maybe go backwards. F, G, A minor, C. Now it's very important to be able to educate yourself further. And what we've done so far is we've equipped you with the basic chords. From there, all you have to do is go online, type in your favorite song, and then the word chords, and you're going to get a chord chart for whatever song you want to find. Okay, whether it's More Than a Feeling by Boston, or Back in Black by AC/DC. You type that in, and then the word chords, and you're going to get a chord chart that has all of the lyrics and then the chords above those. From there, you just listen to the song and you put those two pieces together. Now, we've only learned the chords from one key, which is the key of C. So to play any song that you want to, you have to learn the chords from the other keys. But that's also very simple because you can just go online and print out a chord chart or go on a YouTube, and there's many different ways to learn the chords within the other keys. And you just follow this process until you know all the keys and you can learn all the different types of songs that you want to learn. Now let's get a practical example of how to read a chord chart. So we're going to do a quick little song for you that shows you what you need to do. You're going to have the chords on the paper, and then you're going to have the words, such as like the classic hit that I just made up, This Is a Song for a Chord Chart. This is a song for a chord chart. This is how you read along to the chords. Just like that. So as you can see, the only chords we were using were C major and A minor, and just going back and forth. All you got to do is follow along with the words, and you're good to go. Now that we've learned some basic chords, let's talk about how to spruce them up just a little bit. And we're going to do this with something that we call an inversion. Now, an inversion changes the way that the chord sounds, but doesn't actually change the chord. And here's how this works. We're going to take our C major, which is going every other, just like we learned. And we're going to take this top note right here, which is a G, and we're going to go down an octave. Now, the way that we are going to find that octave is we're going to find our C, right? Because we've got our two black keys, go one below, and go C, D, F, G. So we know that that's the G. So all we have to do is take this and drop it down. So that's still a C chord, but it's in second inversion. Now this might seem overly complicated, but the reason that we do that is so that we don't have to move our hands all over the keyboard to find these new chords. For example, if I was going to go from C to F to C, instead of moving my hand all the way from here to there to here, all I have to do is move my hands like this. And that's an F chord right there. But you can see that I've taken this C and I've dropped it down. So now we can go C, F, C. And as you can see, it's much easier to play because I don't have to move my hand all over the place. And that actually results in a much more natural sound. You are free to use inversions however you like. You're going to get a chord chart that just says C, F, C. 9 out of 10 piano players are going to play C, F, C like that, just because it's standard. Everybody does that. But you could invert them however you wanted to. That's kind of where you get to put your own color and define your own style for playing the piano. So have fun with inversions. They're kind of the bread and butter of what you do. So we've covered all the basic things that you need to know to get started with your digital piano. You've learned your first key, a whole bunch of different chords, and ultimately how to find songs and apply these skills to play the songs that you know and love. Now, I would certainly recommend getting a teacher if you can. Getting a teacher is the fastest, best way to learn. You have that accountability. You have somebody right there showing you what to do and what not to do, and hopefully making it fun. Definitely check that out if you can. There's also a whole wealth of information available online, sites like YouTube. Just Google around and you're going to find so many people teaching you how to do exactly what you want to do. It's really, really awesome to have that. Thank you so much for taking part in this with us and for purchasing from Austin Bazaar. Have a great time.